Welcome back to Canadian Justice, where we're discussing patent, copyright, and trademark law in Canada. We're now joined by two intellectual property lawyers, Dominique Huzzy, who is a partner at Bennett Jones, and Peter Hennon, who's a partner with Waddell Phillips. Thank you both so much for joining me today. Peter, I'll start with you. We have used a lot of these terms, patent, copyright, trademark, but they're different. Can you explain to our viewers what the differences are between those three types of intellectual property?
Sure. So copyright law protects the expression of an idea, but not the idea itself. So whether it's a painting, piece of writing, an audio recording, a film, and it's generally described as a bundle of rights, meaning that if you have, let's say, for example, a sound recording, you will have a number of different rights that come out of that, all falling under the copyright banner. So if you looked at All Along the Watchtower, which was recorded famously by Jimi Hendrix, but it was written by Bob Dylan, there would be copyrights relating to the recording of the performance by Jimi Hendrix, but there's also a separate copyright relating to the actual composition, which Bob Dylan would own. Patent law basically protects an inventor's ability to stop others from making, using, or selling the invention essentially for this period of time, from the day that you obtain your patent to, I believe it's about 20 years, a maximum of 20 years from the day that you file the application. Trademark is different. Trademark is, a trademark is a sign or a combination of signs used or proposed to be used by a person to distinguish their goods or services from those of others. So it protects brand identity. So if you think of the golden arches at McDonald's or Canadian Tire, the Canadian Tire triangle design, which is the red triangle with the maple leaf and the words Canadian Tire in the triangle.
Or Ron has a trademark for his trucking company, Fluke, which is the trademark is if it's on time, it's a fluke, which
it's a fluke.
It's a great line. Now, Dominique, what are some of the challenges around patents specifically? What types of things can you get a patent for, and what types of protection does a patent give you?
Well, there are lots of challenges and hurdles to getting a patent. And as Ron has indicated, you need to make an application to the Canadian Intellectual Property Office. And that application has to get all the way through to registration before you actually get any real protection. And to get to that point, an application has to undergo a very rigorous examination process. And there are all kinds of requirements that have to be met. And they're very technical. First of all, the invention that is going to be patented has to meet the definition of an invention, and not everything can be patented. So to get patent protection, what's being protected has to be a new or useful process, machine, manufacture, or composition of matter. And that doesn't describe everything. And it actually doesn't even describe some surprising things. And very famously, a mouse that has been genetically engineered to have cancer cannot be protected in Canada because it doesn't meet those definitions. It is a higher life form and not one of those very specific things that can be patented. And I mentioned the idea of something being new or useful. The standard of being useful is very low in Canada. You just have to have what probably only patent lawyers call a scintilla of utility. The idea that something has to be new, however, can be a very, very big challenge. It means that your invention has to be the first publicly available anywhere in the world. If somebody has made the same thing or written about the same thing that was accessible to the public anywhere in the world, you can't get a patent. If you have a great invention and you decide to tell all your best friends, or even one best friend who is not bound by a confidentiality contract, how to make and use your invention, you cannot get patent protection unless you file an application within a year. And of course, inventors love to talk about their inventions. So it is quite a challenge to keep that under wraps so it isn't disclosed before you apply for your patent. And the other thing is that an invention obviously has to be inventive, which means it can't be obvious. And to patent lawyers, that means it can't be the next logical step for someone who is skilled in the field of the invention or the technology of the invention. And that can be very difficult because, as you can imagine, there are a lot of very creative people around, a lot is written. And if somebody else could have come up with the same thing and it would have been obvious, you can't get a patent for an invention.
No, so Dominique, I just wanted to ask one question, which I think is a misconception. We've only got about 30 seconds. A lot of people think you can patent just an idea. Is that true or not?
You cannot. You can only patent an invention, and an idea is not an art, process, machine, manufacture, or composition of matter. And the other thing is the patent very expressly says you cannot get a patent on a mere scientific principle or abstract theorem, which is an idea.
Really common misconception, I think, in that area of law. We've got to go to commercial break, but when we come back, we will continue this discussion.